and welcome to the first episode of the Local LBK Podcast. We are here in the Contract Creative Studio with Jared Shelton and Tyler, and we are about to get into what we are going to be sharing with you throughout this season one of the Local LBK Podcast. So if you want, we're going to give you a sneak peek of our setup inside the studio. So if you want to see what we're working with, we've got some killer equipment and can't wait for you to see what Jared has in store.
Thank you, Taylor. I think we are, there's Tyler back there waving. So we are in the Contract Creative Studio and we're excited for this first episode. I think going right into the mission of why we wanted to do this, Taylor, was basically because we at Creative were thinking we want to do something to help give people a voice and something fun to do in the studio, especially during these interesting times of the pandemic. We'd also been throwing around naming and ideas for over like a year, and we honestly kept coming back to we wanted to build a brand. We want to build a podcast that was exactly what Local LBK is and does. And so it came down to it to where it's like, why don't we ask Taylor? Why don't we make this a thing and make it official and partner? And I was down for Carly, everyone in the office, Tyler, and we're really excited to get started on this and for this to be episode 1 of season 1. And we just love everything about the Lubbock LBK brand and what y'all do. And again, for what you stand for, because everything what we've wanted to kind of toss it around ideas and what we wanted to create, and it was exactly what you've been doing for years. And I look forward to asking you those questions about that this morning. It's actually not this morning, but this afternoon. But this isn't live right now, so who knows. But the next episode is going to be live, and we look forward to bringing a live podcast, a live production to Lubbock that's focused on, building as good a community as we can, building a better community, a more invested and excited community in Lubbock. And Taylor, you're the best to go into all of that kind of stuff. I think I'll turn it over to you as far as kind of tell us what is Local LBK. I assume all of your listeners and everyone on this podcast right now will know what y'all stand for, but you sum it up so well, and I'd like to hear the way you put it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. We're stoked about this collaboration too. We've had it in our head to take Local LBK and treat it more like a media company of how can we create community-focused content that actually empowers people through better representation, but then also just a higher level of creativity, going out there doing collaborative things and showcasing what exists in our community and helping people imagine what our community could be. Yeah. So with that, the Local LBK Story, the short version of it anyways, is about 5-6 years ago, I was going around town taking pictures of my lunch and my lattes with an Instagram account. And so from there, it picked up a good number of followers in 3,000, probably a year or two in. And then soon after that, 7,000, things like that. And so with that, it had a fun social following that was really curious and interested in life in the LBK. Lubbock in the Loop was already going. Visit Lubbock was making really cool stuff. But there wasn't anything in town that was exclusively local and independent. Some of my stories, I've always worked for the mom and pop shops, the small dogs.
That's
and
right.
I think that experience has shaped my philosophy of what community and entrepreneurship and innovation looks like. And because of that, it's brought a level of familiarity, a family feeling inside a company that you can't get inside of other corporations. And so because of that level of interconnectedness and interdependence, we're actually able to bring value that isn't just financial. It's quality of life, it's personal development, it's career aspiration. My day job is the general manager at Sugar Browns, and I'm wanting to help some of our employees start their own businesses eventually. And so having those conversations, that doesn't happen when you work in a franchise or when you're just punching in on the clock.
Right.
But when you're actually part of a community, you're making your community a better place by living out your dreams and working in your strengths. So from there, the Local LBK Story goes back to me and Derek Johnston becoming business partners about 3 years ago. And with that, we have an events website and the Keep a Local card. And so we encourage the general public to know their options when they shop locally from following us on social media. And then shopping with those businesses and getting rewards and discounts with the Keep a Local card. And then just this year, this summer, we've actually launched the the Local LBK app, and we're super excited for our followers in the community to get their hands on it. We already have 70 plus businesses and organizations signed up that all offer exclusive rewards through this program. Wow. And the idea is, let's get local supporting local. None of us are doing this to get rich, but it is a great opportunity for us to invest and give back to our neighbors. So we believe that it's all about experiences and relationships, and if Local LBK can help people get a better experience and then build relationship with these brands and with their community, we're all going to make Lubbock a better place over the next couple of years.
That's so cool. That is, I love your mission, and then the way you've executed the whole, like, the business plan of Local LBK. Taking it from, like you said, an Instagram account to then a few things in between that, but a website that was pretty interactive and had a lot of listings and a lot of interaction going on there, and now an app. And that's just crazy to me. And the last time we talked about how that app came about and how it came to life. And it's just really impressive what you've pulled together for Lubbock and for people outside of Lubbock, or just coming to Lubbock, or maybe like they've lived in Lubbock for forever. But the brand Local LBK feels like something that Lubbock would have or should have had for 25 plus years. It feels like something that would be led by the city, but it's really neat that people are there like you, that step up and fill a gap and kind of just become another resource for people who either are coming to town for the first time, or it's crazy, but people who have lived here for 20 years sometimes haven't experienced Lubbock
completely. That's
like
my
they
story.
Need to. Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into college that I actually started learning what my city was like. And I've been here for 25 plus years.
And so, Taylor, what's your favorite thing that you kind of have experienced and just makes you go, wow, this is Lubbock. It's way cooler than what my friends or family think that either live here or live 5 hours away. But what makes Lubbock stand out to you that was just like, I can't believe this is here in this. Is it Prairie Dog Town?
It's high on my list. We have plenty of branded merch with the Prairie Dog, and so we're actually trying to embrace that as an icon that we actually, in a silly fashion, can get behind. It is something that represents a community that we've discovered, and so the way I picture it is like we're all just little prairie dogs running around our town, and so there's metaphor there. But man, my favorite stuff in the community. First Party Art Trail is one of the coolest events in town. Happens once a month.
Man, is it not?
COVID has thrown that off a little bit, but they've done a great job of pivoting and taking into a virtual experience as well as a social one on social media. The farmers markets in town, those are super cool. It allows for small enterprise, craft-based businesses, home-based businesses to be able to go and do commerce. And then from there, you get to support these artisans, these makers, these growers and producers directly. You're not supporting them through a distributor. You're not doing it through a grocery store. You're shaking the hand that picked that thing hours ago.
Good point. Yeah.
And so we're all about creating more self-reliant, sustainable, diverse, equitable communities, and those type of ecosystems and events and activities are great examples for that.
That's cool.
From there, we're all about the downtown redevelopment stuff. We think a dense city center full of life culture where you can live, work, and play is critical for the health of a community. And then from there, really big fan of 34th Street, one of the longest mom and pop roads within, I think, almost the nation. I think there's some statistics on that.
Wow.
And then with that, we're just striving to make our community better. We think that Lubbock is already a great place. One of its greatest resources outside of things like Texas Tech and the agriculture community is just the people. We are a great group of people that cares about each other, is highly independent as a strength and a weakness. But from there, I think we're kind of breaking into a new creative culture and a craft culture within the community that is actually bringing community together and allowing for collaboration to become the new competitive edge rather than I'm going to stick it to myself and do it on my own. And so it's really cool to see that camaraderie come out of our community. both formally through things like Local LBK, but then also just organically as different people get to know people in the community.
That's cool, Taylor. And mentioning things like the app in today's time where we've got like this COVID thing that has impacted First Friday Art Trail, and some things where we have gatherings, which is something that made Lubbock bigger than what some people thought, and kind of what Lubbock seemed like. But now that that's changed those things, and you're doing, everyone's having to adapt, and you're adapting with an app. We're having to adapt in different ways, whether it's, so we film some weddings on the weekends, we do a lot of that. And so being able to offer live streaming for those weddings and, make that affordable as an add-on for those packages has been one of our ways to kind of start combating the changes that everyone is experiencing.
Totally.
But what is your outlook on Lubbock business, the Lubbock economy, nonprofits, and the way change is inevitable, and whether it's a lot of change right now, and then hopefully in 3 to 6 months that we can go back to a little bit more normalcy, but there's going to be things that are always going to be a little bit different. And what do you see that for just Lubbock businesses in general, whether it's restaurants, different in the different industries, a roofing company, or I know you have tons of industries on Local LBK, but tell me like what you think is the kind of a strategy for moving forward some people, or what you see people doing that's really working well.
Totally. So Lubbock is an interesting market because both in terms of economics and population, we've had a steady growth rate for decades. And so with that, we've been able to live in the land of opportunity for a long while. Even during the recession in 08 and 09, we did not feel that impact here the same way that most of the nation did.
Yeah.
So with that, with COVID, with some of the economic stuff, with some of the political or social stuff going on nationally, the local impact is being felt differently this time. But with that, I think you were hitting it right on the head of people are pivoting and learning. For Sugar Browns and many food or retail establishments, they're figuring out how they can have a leaner operation that is actually more effective in sales, more effective in digital communication, more effective in community building and brand awareness. And then from there, being able to rally that community support that Lubbock has had for those independent businesses. There's some independent businesses, not many, that have actually probably done better during COVID because they've been able to pivot and figure out how to adjust well.
Yes.
And so from there, being able to figure out new business models is key for a lot of people during all of this. And so one of the things we're trying to do to help with all that is in our app we actually have a tag listing that is all COVID related, so people can say temporarily closed or open at 25, 50, 75% capacity, have free local delivery, or have shipping options or things like that. And so you can actually be able to support these local independent businesses knowing those resources and knowing how you can shop safely and support local all at the same time.
That's awesome. Taking a little bit more broad now, and you're right. I mean, we could talk for COVID stuff for hours. It's just it's too easy to talk about. It's on all of our minds. But it's been impressive how things have bounced back. I don't mean in just economics and businesses being open, but we've also seen the numbers bounce a little bit. Hopefully we kind of get those to level off and flatten a second curve. But that aside, I want to go back to a little bit of our mission of Local LBK and why this podcast is happening. And I kind of want to start with your beginnings and your roots, because the story of what has pushed you to be who you are and what your mission is just really fascinating. In kind of your early days working at Sugar Browns, right? And the stuff you learned and picked up on, and what really like made you tick. It kind of put that fire in you to really change things and go after certain industries and help them in powerful ways?
So taking kind of my path of career choice thus far, like I was saying earlier, it's always been the local independent, and a lot of that was influenced by a guy named Justin Bernard. He was a serial entrepreneur here in Lubbock. Created some of the most loyal brands you would have ever seen in town. Places like Cilantro's, Sugar Brown's when it was on 50th Street, Tumble Co., and a handful of other companies that people loved. He brought kind of national trends and localized them and gave them that West Texas flavor and made them available here in the Lubbock market while having total control over the branding, the output, the service, the response for customers. And so that really kind of shaped how I wanted to do business from there on out. And so from there, I'm wanting to pave it forward. I want to help support the underdog. I want to help that business that's just starting. Even though within our community, we have businesses that are 3-4 generation family business. Been around almost as long as the city has. Mm-hmm. And so it's really cool to see that. And with that, we now have relationships and resources that we can help these new businesses get started. Or on the flip side, these new businesses probably have significant competitive advantages compared to some of the older tactics that other businesses might either still be deploying or need help transitioning into. And so for us, it's all about paying it forward and creating that relational capital, social capital, to make Lubbock better.
So, not to put you on the spot, but who are some of those Lubbock businesses that have been here since the beginning of time?
Oh, yeah. One of them is my friend Ian over at Tom and Bingo's. It is, fact check me if you need to, but Lubbock's oldest restaurant. Right now it's located on 34th, it used to be located on 19th. A bunch of Lubbock residents grew up going to Lubbock High and going over and grabbing their lunch or dinner over at Tom and Bingo's. And they still have a menu item named after them. And so you can still go support Ian on 34th Street between Indiana and University. And he makes some of the best barbecue sandwiches you can get in town.
Wow.
Besides that, Wilkins Furniture, they've been around for decades as well, providing great service and furniture and home accessories that you need. My wife and I bought our first house last April, and we were able to get some pieces from them. And it was great being able to use our first reward in buying furniture with Wilkins, and so we were able to use the Local LBK program to start us get in our house. So
that's really cool. What are some of your favorite rewards that businesses offer? And that's a cool thing for any business that's listening that might be thinking, okay, that's the type of offer I should be looking to give to my potential customers. Mm-hmm. On the flip side also, that's our listeners who are members to think that's what I should go after. What are some of your favorite types of offers? Is it a buy one get one free? Is it a 10% off? Or you name it?
Oh man, I have favorite ones for different categories. I think Mountain Hideaway, just with their product offering, having a blanket 10% is a killer reward. And so being able to go in there and get Chacos, or if you're going and actually getting equipped for a whole backpacking excursion, you can save some serious cash while supporting local instead of shopping online. And at the same time, I've had Kyle spend 30 minutes with me talking product and helping me pick the right stuff. And so Kyle Jones with Mountain Hideaway, 10% off, that's a killer one. Outside of that, La Serena, they do free chips and queso with purchase of an entree. And so one of my favorite things to go do is check out their patio happy hour, get started with some drinks and chips and queso, and then hang out for dinner. Cool. That is a great way to spend an afternoon with some friends, or even a business meeting if you want to make it a little more fun.
That's right.
From there, La Diosa, they do a discount as well. I highly recommend their creme brulee. And so, man, it really just matters on what kind of thing you're looking for. The way we see it, it's not necessarily our job to curate the types of businesses that are in there. Our job is to make sure all the local options are available. Mm-hmm. We have real estate, we have business services, consumer services, food, retail, entertainment, recreation, education, physical health, mental health. It's all represented within the local BK community. And then from there, we're trying to take it a step further and make sure that the other interests are included, of whether that be minority business owners or dog friendly or great brunch places, or on the other side, maybe even friendly for different food options, health priorities and perspectives. And then sexual orientation as well. There are communities within Lubbock that may not know if it's safe for them to go and support that business, or know if they'll be treated fairly. And so we want to help remove that barrier of questioning and make sure Lubbock people are treated like people, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So Taylor, you have a lot of things that Local LBK covers, advocates for, and makes available, if you will. But what is the end goal for Local LBK?
End goal for Local LBK. It's a great question. I'm going to have to think on that one for just a little sec. For Lubbock, this is my hometown. This is where I want to be. I hope to start other businesses outside of Local LBK, so I can create new opportunities or fun experiences for people.
Are you looking for investors?
Not currently. Well, that's another conversation. We'll get there sometime. So for Lubbock and Local LBK, the dream is I want to make this the city that my daughter's going to grow up in. And I want her to be proud of that and feel safe here and have that career here. That wasn't my initial motivation, but now, coming September, she'll be here. So that is very much a dynamic. I want to see the school systems be ones I'm proud of, be ones that have given Lubbock ISD is how I got my education. And so I'm proud of the experiences I got to have. I want to be able to say that still in 30 years. And then from there, when I think of Local LBK, I actually see it as a platform to help other communities be able to have the same community pride, create opportunities for legitimizing industries and growing the craft movement and helping people really just engage. The enemy that I see this model is fighting is truly apathy. And so with that, moving outside false information, bringing people into perspective with true relationship, to make their communities better. And we hope at some point this model can actually be deployed in equitable ways in other communities across the U.S. So, but for now, Local LBK, we're on a mission to make Lubbock a better place through shopping locally, saving money, and supporting our community.
That is cool, Taylor. And I would say the same about us, about Contract Creative. We are just blessed to be here. And like you said, Lubbock has basically been recession-proof. COVID aside, this has affected everyone in any city, town, place in the world. And so our goal is to make Lubbock a better place too, always. And we're just excited to partner with y'all and be able to bring some voices to some people that maybe aren't on already on a media platform, or kind of can talk to you. I just feel like you will ask the best questions to these people, and I can't wait for, like I said, our lineup is really good, and the types of questions, and it's not just going to be an advertisement for someone's business. It's not going to be just hey, sit down and let's talk about you. It's Lubbock in general, and it's it will focus on industries, and it will hit on fun topics that they know about, and it's what they do every day, so they're going to be an expert in that field. But it's I'm just excited to create this for Lubbock in general. I guess just a quick thing on our story and how it started quite a long time ago, and just again watching you take Local LBK from the roots until now has been inspiring. And I know the people we've got coming up also inspire the heck out of me in seeing what they have taken and what they've built.
Oh, I can't wait for our listeners to get to learn more about our community.
Like you said, entrepreneurialism, and that's huge. But also just people who build stuff and create stuff and make stuff. I just love that about Lubbock. I love that it's here, and I love that you find it and you seek it out, and we're going to get to bring them into the creative studio, and that's exciting to me.
Tell their stories.
Yeah,
can't wait.
That's right. Taylor, do you have anything else before we close today. I almost said this morning.
We should get some coffee next time.
Yeah, we should.
If it's all right, I want to flip the questions around real quick.
Okay.
Real quick. Because y'all are doing some really cool work here at Contract Creative, and this really fun setup, and you're using it as a platform to help share the local LBK story and the story of those that we bring in, because we think it's going to make Lubbock a better place by connecting people through these stories. What got you started with Contract Creative? How did you get motivated to care about your community in this way? And what can people do to support you or learn more about you or kind of stay involved with this bigger movement?
Cool. Appreciate the question. And basically, I think when I decided to not go to college in Abilene and not go to ACU, love that school to death, great people over there. But when I decided to stay in Lubbock and go to LCU, that kept me in this community. That kept me focused and knowing Lubbock. And so I really stayed, this community and the people here is who I stayed focused on, and it allowed me to start a business and get going after college. And kind of started for the last couple of years in college, was doing quite a bit of freelance and stuff. And my dad's always been a huge, not just inspiration to me, but he's what's helped me. The first 4 or 5 years of business, incredibly essential, and still to this day, a huge mentor and a huge guiding voice of wisdom. And he was, Dad was director of United Supermarkets, director of marketing for United for 12 years, and before that he had a marketing advertising job, and after that as well. And he's just been busy doing it. Now he's doing his own thing as well, and he has a blast. And just seeing where he, all the years where he just was growing his career, and also teaching me at the same time Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, those things early on. And then when I found video in college, and that was just kind of the turning point, the pivotal point where I realized, okay, I just really found a passion for it, really found an interest for it. And I guess what allows us to do what we do today is, one, Lubbock being recession-proof a little bit, and had a decent economy when I graduated, and it really is about who you know, and it's about knowing Lubbock, it's about knowing the people around you, and without John King at LCU, who got me involved in filming weddings and filming things at Pine Springs Summer Camp for years during college, and then that became different jobs because of the connections I had there afterwards. Just powerful stuff. I think there's, I'm going to give a little shout out. I give the shout out to John King for giving me a lot of opportunity. But I'll also give another shout out to the Cook family. They know who they are, and they really helped in those early years get started. And very fortunate for people who support you and make it possible in the early years, because it's not easy when you're starting out. So props to everyone who's in that position right now, whether you're a restaurant, you're a bakery, you're just doing some business services, some tax stuff, or who knows what you're doing. But the early years are not easy. And you know what? Every single year, in today's, every single day in today's current environment with the COVID stuff is difficult. So props to everyone who's grinding and trying their hardest every single day to make it, because it's not effortless. It's not just automatic. Everything is done with a purpose, and everything that is good and creates meaningful things in people's lives takes time. And
well, that's why we both do what we do.
Incredible effort, yeah.
We want to have that direct impact in helping improve either life, finances, opportunity, career, or relationships, whatever it may be. We want to do that for that next person.
Yeah.
And so we hope we can do that by creating better systems in our community so that's scaled for generations, but then also taking that opportunity, and if you can shop local and help that person because that dollar stays in our community a little bit tighter and that profit stays with them rather than going to a large corporation.
That's right.
That's the difference. And so because a family banked on you to help them out, you've been able to run this thing for years now. and employ so many other people and make opportunity for others. And so I think that it's a small scale, but it's that small bet. It's that investing in someone. The fact that they cared about the relationship enough to do that with you is what made a difference.
Yeah. If anyone's listening, like what I just said, I touched on it, but you've heard it your whole lives. Maybe I can put a different spin on it. It's all about who you know. So the spin I'd put on that is not just to actively know that and go to some networking events and maybe pass out your card, maybe send some emails, but genuinely be focused on relationships and genuinely be focused on every customer or client you have, to where it's the relationship that matters. It's the connection you have, and in building that, and then you build a community, and then you build maybe a business, and then you build, I guess, a really cool life. But we build a city, and that's just really exciting. And I'm honored to know you, and that was the relationship started, years ago, and then now to have like a really cool project that we're doing together. And Taylor, thank you just for the opportunity to do this in the studio. It means a lot.
Oh, vice versa, my friend. It is greatly appreciated, and can't wait to see how this helps others. So
Same.
Let's get ready for episode 2.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Hope y'all keep listening. If y'all would, send us an email at social@locallbk.com with your questions or comments. We do have a lineup of our new interviewees so that you can learn about different issues in our community, hear about different stories of businesses, and hear what's going on in town. And so we want to invite you to be a part of that conversation. So if you would, hit us up on social media, #LocalLBK, find us on all major platforms, and drop us an email if you want to chat some more about it. social@locallbk.com.
Amazing.
From there, you can hear more about Jared at contractcreative.com and their major social media platforms. And so, for now, we're signing off, and we'll see you next time.
Super. Thanks, Taylor.
Guys.